This is Sandstorm. This is Sandstorm.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are finally here. Man, it's been quite a hectic day. I have not stopped moving. Um,
Hey, it's real quick. Is your stream live or yard letting you stream on Twitter?
no, I was just about to say that. So we are going to have like a huge major cut in the amount of people that are viewing the channel.
Hmm. Yo, Mike. Still kind of low, bro. Yo, let me see. We're gonna play this until we get the sound right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so everyone who has Twitter, if you could send it out to Twitter, um, this share this stream because um, Twitter has like changed their rules now to where you cannot stream to Twitter unless you have a premium account now, um, which is wild to me. I'm not paying Elon Musk more than he already makes. Like that's not necessary. I don't feel like that's I don't feel like that's necessary, right? Like I don't like why. Why do I need a premium account in order for that to happen?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna have a bigger loss in the amount of people that we're streaming out to, because I had to look at it twice. Like it wouldn't let me. It was asking me to retry for yours to have it streamed, and then like it didn't work. So I was like, okay, well I'll just have it streamed to mine. Nintendo Cisco. Oh, yo, what up, Cisco? You want to come in? You feel like you want to come in? But you more than welcome to jump in, hop in. I'm about to send you the link. Even if you don't want to, I'm sending the link anyway. um. So yeah. So like it's wild. So I guess we just not gonna have our 30. Oh, Cisco's hopping in. We're not gonna have our 30 35, 40 people that usually come in, because a good 13 to 14 of those people are usually people who listen and watch um, from Twitter. So that's
That's unfortunate too, since me and you what we talked about earlier too. So that
yeah,
drops it even more. So that's crazy.
yeah,
Yo, that sounded creepy as heck.
yeah, right. So yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. I guess that's just how we just gonna roll from now on. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That's what we say. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Let's just get our Twitch and kick followers up. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah,
start
yeah,
streaming. You know what I'm saying? Let's really get
yeah.
onto
That's
these other
true. Because
platforms and you
we
know.
already have, like, I already have my Twitch going right now for anybody who's on the Twitch side, and like I haven't even checked over there.
Yeah, let's get those. Let's run those up if we can. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. We gotta. I mean, we got some followers on the Twitch side. We
if I'm
got
not
38
mistaken,
followers, so it's more than I thought we did. So
if I'm not mistaken, I believe we can still do this on Instagram. If I'm not mistaken,
okay, so
uh,
then
but I
we'll
don't know
start.
how to do it.
Okay,
I gotta
so then
figure that out.
we'll start
Yeah,
figuring out how
Instagram
to do
Live.
the
It has it right here.
Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. Yup.
Let me see.
Mm,
Yeah, that is a piece. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that next. I'll do it next time around for me at least, to be able to add that, so then we can add more people. And that's just wild that Twitter is just out of nowhere. It's not even like they left with us like a letter or like an
yo,
update or anything like that.
Elon
They
Elon feel like he can do whatever he wants, and technically he can. So
right,
it's like, man, yo, bro. Not only did you change the name, now you doing when you introduce something. We was all cool with it. I guess it was just a sample for how many
right,
months we had,
right,
and now you like, yep. Now you got to pay for it. Like, all right, bet. Man, you playing
right.
too much over there, Kev.
Like they just doing. He does all that for no reason. It makes no sense to me.
Like, how we supposed to get our chili and you sitting up here asking for chili out of us? Like, what's wrong with you, bro? Like,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like leave stuff the way it is. Let us get some chili, and you can get your chili. but he's trying to make it profitable. That's what's crazy. He's trying to make Twitter profitable.
I mean,
Oh, if y'all don't know what chili is, that's watching that. That's money, chili, money.
yeah,
Slang. It's no slang.
it is what it is. So it's a Saturday. It was a happy Saturday for me. How was today for you?
Head hurts, allergies, but I'm alive.
I feel that.
I'm
What up?
alive.
What up, Andre? Appreciate you coming through. Risky already jumping in. I knew Risky was going to jump in early. He was going to see the title, and it was just going. I knew it was going.
Well,
It was
what's
going to mess him
crazy?
up.
He actually came on the at the time that he normally comes. You know what I'm saying? Pause. He normally comes in there around like close to 10 anyway. So you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like this is right on time. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
right on time for him.
Yeah, for him.
Uh, what up, Brand Smith? Moderators in the building. Brand Smith, Trinell, appreciate y'all coming through, man. Triple M, what's good? Dark Sun, right? I see you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So
Everybody up in here.
yeah. So today was like nonstop for me because I went to work. I went to work from 7 to 11. It was just a little half a day for me. And then right after that, I mean, I'm sure he's gonna tell a story too come Monday. No, they can't because Robert will still be there. So there won't be a Juices Loose podcast on Monday. So I'm giving y'all a heads up. But I left from here, Kalamazoo, from right here, right here to go to Muskegon, which is up here. That's where Juice lives. He lives up there to meet up with him and Mr. T. So we hung out for the day. It was my first time meeting them in person and stuff. And man, Juice is tall. He says he's only 5'11", but he's tall.
I mean, you short, bro. So I mean, everybody talking about.
T was shorter than me, so yeah, but it was wild. It was cool hanging out with them for the day. I got to see Juice's theater room, and I'll tell you that thing is the truth. Like it's legit, and as a matter of fact, it's so legit. It be putting like our movie theaters, like Celebration, like it puts it to shame. Like he got the like the boom, you know what I'm saying? Like he got the bangers. He played a couple different scenes from a couple different movies for us. And that boy just got the, you know what I'm saying, got the rattling. Like, I was like, oh, whoa. You know what I'm saying? We watched some scenes from A Quiet Place, for the sound, which was good.
You talking
We
about
watched
the new one, or are you talking about
no, the original.
Okay.
Like it was like the end scene. Yeah. We watched the scene from the Maverick, the part where they got to do the bomb test when they're practicing that, but then he did the scene where Maverick actually goes through and does it himself. Like it's crazy just how the sound was flow. But then like I think one of the two of the best ones that he showed us that was like crazy. One was Blade Runner 2049 with Ryan Gosling. Because like the subs got like deep, and I was like, whoa, like it rattled your body. And then the other one was the first one, which was wild, bro. It made me. I was like, man, we got to watch this whole movie, like, because it's so crazy. Even though I've seen it, but Tenet, that like,
oh yeah,
that like beginning scene,
yeah.
And like the bullets all popping around and phew, phew, and then like like I was like, whoa. So like it was.
Where did you first see Tenet at? Did you go to the theater for that?
No. I saw Tenet. Actually, I saw Tenet here. I watched it on TV. And then I watched it at AREN's. One of my cousins, our older cousin, and he has like a nice little system, but it wasn't that. Like it wasn't. Like my man's got the speakers on the wall. He got speakers on the ceiling. It's all surround. You know what I'm saying? He got speakers in the back. His I think he said his projector is 125 or something like that. And he was even showing us like the smaller, like what his original projector size was, which was actually like I think he said 72 or 75 or something like that. But he shrunk it down to that size, and I was like, dang, that's the size of my TV. Like, and it looked like small. And then he jumped that boy back up. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah. So it was a good time. We went to the beach. We showed T the beach. He's never thought he's never been to any of the Great Lakes or whatever. The smell of the Great Lakes is much different than the smell of ocean water because it's not salt water. So it's a lot. I can't explain it. To me, salt water smells like Chinese food. Like
what?
Yeah, like not tasty Chinese food. Not like, oh, I'm going to the beach and then like, oh dang, I'm hungry for Chinese. Like really, really salty type smell.
I've never heard nothing like that.
Yeah, especially in Florida. That's what it smells like to me. It smells like Chinese.
It smells like bathroom to me. It just smells like toilet water. I don't know how to explain that, but to me, and then like if you go to Savannah and stuff, it definitely smells like it's crazy. It's they have like a paper mill there, so the exhaust stuff from that.
And mixed with that,
so it literally smells like porta potty. Like it just smells like death and porta potty.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I mean, sometimes like the lakes could smell like dead fish. Sometimes it can smell like swamp water, but I don't know. It's hard to explain what because y'all got like everybody else in the world, period, has like lakes, but they don't have Great Lakes, and Great Lakes are much different than just regular lakes. They don't run the same process. Like y'all be on the lake and be like, this is the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's like looking. Vito already said it. It's like looking at a miniature ocean. Like if you're looking across, you cannot see it. It's the next state to us, which is Wisconsin. You will not be able to see Wisconsin. It looks like the ocean. And if you were to look south, you will not see Chicago, but that's where Chicago is. That's just how big our lakes are. They're really that big. Unless you like get to areas like Michigan and Canada where you can just see across, but that's not and that distance really isn't that big. Like you can see everything well, or like the edge of the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula like has our longest bridge and one of the longest bridges I think in the country, right? Mackinac.
I believe so.
Yeah, so and you can see across that, but like everything else, you ain't seeing across no water. That's like we live around a miniature ocean. So, have you been playing anything lately? Do you want to do an icebreaker?
I have, but I mean, it's just been like some stuff on Game Pass and stuff like that. Nothing.
Okay. Then I got a better icebreaker for you. Actually, I've been waiting to use this icebreaker, so I feel like it's a good time for it. What movies? And this is for the chat too. Here's the icebreaker. I'm gonna put it in there. What movies would you want to play as games that aren't necessary? Oh, here we go. Dang, you hopped in at the perfect time.
Okay, perfect.
We were literally just about to start the icebreaker. Cisco's seen the Great Lakes before. He's been around the Great Lakes. You've been around the Great Lakes, right?
Grays Lake. Wait, what?
Great Lakes, yeah, Michigan.
Oh, Great Lakes. Yeah.
They're big, right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, no, it's like an ocean.
Yeah, see? Okay, so our icebreaker is what movie or movies would you want to become or would you want to play as video games that aren't really video games right now? So like you can't count Star Wars, no Jurassic Park, no Indiana Jones, no Matrix. I'm gonna give you.
Sorry, it cut out a little bit for me. So you said a movie.
Yeah, what movies would you want to play as a video game that aren't?
Oh,
Hard to really say because every movie has been made into a video game, or there's a video game that's based their storyline around a movie or whatever like that. So that's kind of hard to say.
I'm trying to think. Like, I know there's one in there.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't ask you this question if I didn't have an answer myself.
John Wick.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's a good one, John Wick, but not in the style of the Matrix, not in the style of the PlayStation 2 Matrix games, not like that.
No, something cool.
Be a Call of Duty game or something.
Well, I can imagine they got all like the animated kills, and you put in like the button input prompts.
Yeah,
some crazy skills. That'd be kind of
cool. Go ahead, Vito.
That's a good one, but they do have a John Wick video game. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
but no, it's not like big major. It's more like one of those maybe. It's hard to explain, but they do have one. Like just type it up, just look it up. I forgot what it's called, but it's a little. It's either a computer game or a mobile game, but it's somewhat of a game already. It's not really a game yet, but Doomsday Rush Hour.
Yeah, and that'd be kind of sweet though. Or Speed. That's interesting. That's interesting too. Andre said, "What if you do?" He said, "What if you do John Wick? Then I would want it in the style of Real Steel too."
I would want it in the style of Hitman.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. That'd be sweet too.
See, I'm telling you, that's hard because all the rest of all these movies I'm thinking of, they have a video game attached to it at least.
I know this is like, I know I've come across this before where I'd be like, oh, this would be an awesome video game. But now like actually being asked it, I'm like, oh. I said this the other day, like, would be a cool video game. I saw a movie and was thinking that. I'm like, oh, I wish this was a video game, but I can't remember.
I'll broaden it for you. So you can use a movie that is a video game, but it hasn't been a video game it hasn't been a known video game. Let's put it that way. A known video game within the last 5 to 10 years. Still not Star Wars. It's still not Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I know. They still all got video games.
Have to be Matrix.
I know a movie I watched recently that would be kind of cool, but it kind of is a video game. So I don't know. I was watching The Thing, the 1980s movie.
Oh, The Thing, yeah.
But Among Us, I guess is like the thing. You'd have to guess who's the killer. Yeah, so I don't know. True. Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. Oh wow.
That's wow right there.
Oh yeah, he said the John Wick game that came out was on PS4, Switch, Xbox, Mac, and Steam.
Okay. Yeah, no, there is a John Wick game then.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys remember this. This was when he wasn't as popular. And I gotta check to actually make sure that it is not a video game because I don't want to throw it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to really say what movie because Didn't we do this over on the Vitoverse before?
I think so.
And it was very kind of hard to really, because then we
Okay,
started thinking about it.
okay, it's not. Okay, it's not. So, Push. Do you guys remember that movie?
Push.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody really does. So it was with Chris Evans, and so he had like the telekinetic powers to be able to like move stuff around. Dakota Fanning had like the ability to like see the future ish, or see events ahead of time. Uh,
Infamous,
Jimon
dog.
Hansu, Jimon
Infamous.
Hansu.
You heard me?
What?
Infamous. Infamous.
But that's a video game.
Exactly. I'm saying that what you're describing, you can throw that in Infamous.
Oh no, it's not. But it's not like that though. It's not. It's not nearly to that level. Um, and Jima Hanzu had the power to like whoever he touched. Was that him? Yeah, whoever he touched, like he could kind of control. Um, it it wasn't the greatest movie. Oh, this is like the. Where is it? This is the kind of the screen for it. I know that's really small. I forgot you guys can't see the same thing I see. Oh, and then as I zoom it in, everything else zooms out. But yeah, Push. There was another one that came to mind.
Oh no, I got the ultimate. Wait, the movie that could become a video game, that would be the ultimate video game, would be Ready Player One.
Dang it! I was saving that for last.
Dang. Yeah, that's well. Okay, so actually, that the reason why I was thinking about that is because with Fortnite, I know Fortnite's like what Fortnite, but I feel like Fortnite's the closest thing we have to that low key because you have all of those different skins and collaborations, but also I had a moment because I don't know if you guys saw the movie Ready Player One where the main character's checking up on his friend and he's like, yo, where you at? And he's just like in some kill universe. He's like shooting people. And he's like, come on, join the racing one. And like that's literally what I did with my friends like not too long ago, where like one person was in a racing one, the other one was in Lego World, and then I was like, yo, we're gonna do the reload missions. And so he's like, where you at? And so they have to leave their worlds to come to a different game mode. And I was like, this is kind of cool. This is just like how Ready Player One would be. Imagine if that was expanded. Which I think it is. There's a Disney, like a big Disney collaboration coming in where they're having like Disney mode.
I think you're right. That is kind of the closest thing to it. And like not everybody plays the same. Like, some people in Fortnite are actually playing the game how old school, like how it used to be when it first started. Other people are like out and about just building stuff. And it's like, okay, so this is like now a community. It's no longer just a game anymore. It's kind of just got its own thing. If I had to pick a game that's not been like kind of in the limelight, or a movie that's not been in the limelight but has had a game recently, I would say Terminator. And Terminator as a survival game. So like instead of, because I feel like most of the Terminator games are either like the top down or you are kind of sectioned off. But if it's like more of the survival, you play as the rebels or whatever, you can get your own base at some point in time. But like Skynet is always constantly trying to find you. And like there could be points where you have to make sure that like there are no robots or drones or anything like that. Like trying to figure out where your safe point is, because Skynet could send, not that you necessarily lose your stuff if you die or whatever, but they could send in, a squad or something like that to take out your base or whatever, and then you have to come up with another base or find another base. I think that would be kind of interesting,
Kind of like a more action packed Alien Isolation in a way.
Yeah. Just constantly running around and gathering stuff and you know, whether it's like a big fight at the end or, you know, to beat the area or something like that. I think that would be sweet.
They should give us like a Life is Strange gameplay style of Napoleon Dynamite. That's what we should get.
Oh, that would be interesting. Life is Strange Napoleon Dynamite Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre said surviving in the future, trying to evade Skynet. Yeah, like you got to use tunnels and stuff like that, and like you can still destroy the robots and stuff, but like you're not taking on 2-3 Terminators at once. One of those type of things. He said the Last Dragon though, with all the cheesiness, been in the play style of Sleeping Dogs, that would be fun. Show enough. What's good? What's good, RJ? Appreciate you coming through. We're on the icebreaker. The icebreaker is what movie would you want to play as a video game that isn't a video game currently? Vito, you got one?
Yeah, Supercell.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. That's a good one.
I mean, outside of that, I had none really I can think of that it's like hasn't been made or something similar to it or something like that. But I was thinking like a Gladiator game.
Gladiator would be good.
Just because that Gladiator trailer.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So,
and I think the last Gladiator like game that was kind of like that, it was like on the GameCube, like, and I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called Gladiator, but I mean that's now over 20, 21, 22 years ago.
I think the game Rome or Son of Rome.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game too. Yeah.
That was had a Gladiator. Well, that was Gladiator base. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mixing up with another one. I'm sure that one was.
Oh, RJH said Bad Boy is similar to Sleeping Dogs. I mess with that. And
Andre said, what's crazy? I ain't gonna lie. The last Bad Boy, I was thinking, I was like, dang, this would be a dope video game, right?
It would be a dope video game. It was really good.
Yeah.
I think it makes a really good video game. How about one more? Dang, and I just had this on. I was just thinking this too, and it fell out.
Definitely Supercell. Like I don't know where the story is going, but I feel like if this was a video game, this will be pretty dope. Especially if you're like following one character only, or whatever, and you're just kind of like meeting up with people that has powers too. And I think it would be equivalent to having the boys video game or something.
Yeah. I think but this game actually is a lot like is like really kind of close to Control, but the movie Lucy with what is her name? Black Widow. Yeah, Scarlet. Where she starts to become, has the psychic powers and all that other stuff and controls all the elements around her and everything. But that's kind of like Control in a sense.
Wait a minute. What was my the Mel Gibson joint with Samuel Jackson? What was that one? Unbreakable. Yeah, Unbreakable, Split, and Mr. Glass.
Oh yeah.
What if they make one out of that?
That'd be really interesting. Yeah, that would be sweet. I was just said Nightmare on Elm Street with gameplay similar to Eternal Dark. Yo, that's wild. That would be wild. Nightmare on Elm Street similar to, because Eternal Darkness will mess with your head like none other. To put it into a Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know. I don't know if I would play that. Like, I'd be like, I'm too scared. Nah. It's one thing to watch it in a movie sense and be like, dang, glad that wasn't me. And like, you
I'm scared to
actually,
go to sleep.
yeah, you actually going through that. Now you got me questioning, like, am I sleeping or like, is this for
Am
real?
I awake?
Like, no, I don't like that. That's
Yo,
uncomfortable.
have it in VR
Yeah.
with the 3D
Yeah.
headphones
No.
with it.
No. 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 No.
Yo, that'd be
No.
crazy.
Have somebody. You ever seen Black Mirror when they pull the plug on them while they still in the thing?
Hey,
They got
what,
the.
what, what was that movie? Was it Black Mirror
Mm.
when the dude had the Terrence Howard was in it, right? And he had like this it's like some kind of glasses he had, like augmented glasses, right? And he was like rotating between two lives, and he was a girl in real life, but then he was a boy in this fantasy world that created these glasses or whatever, and he kept going back and forth to the point where he didn't know
He didn't
which
know
one
whether
of
he
him
was
was
real.
yeah, was he the female or was he, you know what I'm saying, the dude that created the you know what I'm saying? That to me was scary as heck because at the end of the day, he chose to stay in the augmented reality, and really he
Uh,
was really the girl or
he
whatever
was
like
really
that.
the girl the whole
Yeah, and
time.
now he's stuck.
Wow.
Now that was crazy. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
See that stuff like that. Yeah. Stuff that makes you question your own sanity. And Eternal Darkness did it so well back in the day. If they did it now, like you said, with the whole VR and all that, and the surround sound. Now
I love
So
yeah,
there's
like
layer to it.
yeah, you got to get a what do they call those? Like a safety word. Like
yeah,
for
right.
some, I'm about to play this game. Just watch.
Chill.
Just be in here with me. And if I say a word, just you know what I'm saying. If I get to start to shake it, I get to start to shaking. Get me out. Zap me out.
Like on the Matrix, when you get to
Yeah.
shaking in your seat. Oh, what's he doing? They see the computer going haywire.
Right.
What's going on in there? He getting towed up by Agent Smith.
Right. Like, nah, this too serious. Um, we could use another X versus Sever game. Yeah, that was awesome.
Hmm.
I love X versus Sever. Um, yeah. So yeah, that was fun. That was entertaining. Um, so our main topic today um, is graphics aren't as important anymore. And Risky, you were such an inspirer that I actually came up with this conversation last week, and I was ready to use it this week. Um, so we've kind of come to a era, and it's been an interesting one where now what were our handhelds, which were like, statistically speaking, generations behind graphic wise, generations behind our home consoles have now caught up to graphically like the home console side. And so one of the biggest things, and not only that, so we're talking about hardware that's kind of caught up to what we have now or close to looks wise. But now we also have games like Dragon Quest HD 2D Remake, Octopath Traveler. And so it begs the question, especially when you think about all those games or even games that you have in the past. And I'll throw this in too. Um, Graphics. Are we really thinking about the overall graphics or are we thinking about the art style? So I guess keep that in mind as well. But are graphics as important? Do you think graphics are as important as they used to be in the past?
Yes, they're important to America, but not to real gamers.
Ooh,
Good
risky.
answer. That's a good answer.
Ooh.
I agree with that. Are they so? Wait, are they as important as they were back in the day? Like,
Yeah.
gonna say no. Want me to get right straight into it?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so actually, funny. It was funny you guys brought this topic for this this podcast today, because I just saw a video a few hours ago where there was like a whole debate on it and saying like, why is Nintendo even popular at all? Like, they got the worst graphics, blah blah blah. And so that got me thinking, like, there's so many layers to that argument. Like, it's not just a simple answer. I don't think there's so much to it. So I think there's a huge difference with like, yeah, like if we're comparing it from back then, like, yeah, it was a huge thing, like going from pixels, like on the, I don't know, like what, Super Nintendo to the 64.
Yeah.
It was like almost like 3D. And
Yeah.
so, and then we've just gone since then. But I think we're reaching a point where I'm not as impressed when we're getting these AAA titles now. They're like, oh, you can see the pores on the skin. I'm like, I genuinely don't care. Like, that's not something that's because in the end, like when you're playing the video game, everything's moving around. There's so many moving pieces, you don't even see it. What's the point?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the problem is you're trading these pores or these like, 90 gigabytes of pixels in the butt cheek of a character. It's like at that point, like, you're not even like really like, you're not even really soaking it all in. Like it's just. I think graphics are great, but some of these games, what's going on is they're putting that much emphasis on the graphics. It's boosting the budget. It's making games more expensive, and then in the end, sometimes you got like this boring gameplay. It's like people won't play it, and so I think like if we're comparing from graphics, like the boosting of graphics now versus like back then, I think back then like. We've moved so far. Yeah, it's great to see how everything looked, but now I just don't see the purpose of like I think graphics are great now, and now it's like how much farther can you push it?
Right.
I think So I don't know. But there's so much more to that, but I'll leave it at that for the start.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Hold on real quick. I know you got something to say, Vito. RJ said graphics peaked when the Wii U, PlayStation 4, Xbox One released, honestly, in my opinion. And then Andre said you basically think just like him. He said, as things have changed and technology has evolved to the point that graphical leaps aren't as impressive. Yeah. He said, what's the purpose of all the visual details that don't actually add anything to the game? Okay, Vito, what were you going to say?
Oh, no. I wasn't really, but I'll give my opinion on it. But, so to me, I look at it like no, it's not as important as it was back then, because back then we were being introduced to it.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to see how real video games could get and how real it can actually thrust us as a person into it. Like, how real can we make this look? How real is it starting to get, or whatever like that. That went out the window, of course. Probably, let's just say like in the 2010s or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was still kind of looking for graphic changes around like the early 2000s, but I think 2010s, I think that's when it kind of, us as consumers, we reached our peak at that point as far as like graphics. You know what I'm saying? Like just having that nice, crisp, like, oh, it looks so realistic, because game concepts start coming out, and different powers, and it's like we started be like, okay, for us to have an amazing game, we don't need the realism, because that's going to take away from them putting the awesome stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? So I think the older we get to, the more like we just don't care about things of those calibers. Now, it does make a difference as far as like, I feel like, okay, with VR, right? I feel like with VR, I would want them to continue to try to make the graphics better. You know what I'm saying? To make it realistic, because like we were just saying, like,
there's still a way to go.
Talk about, there's still a long way to go and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like our councils, I feel like it doesn't matter, and it does depend on the art form. You know what I'm saying? If it's more of a cartoonish type of game or something like that, or more of like just an anime type of game, or whatever you want to consider it, it really doesn't need to be like graphical, like, oh man, look at the details, besides just looking beautiful, vibrant, colorful, something interesting that'll entice the eye. You know what I'm saying? Almost like when you go through the grocery store and you go to the fruits and vegetables items, um, you're gonna be gravitated to whatever pops out the most, the colors that pops out the most. So that's
Mhm.
really what I feel like is, the thing that actually captures us now more than the detail into like a character design, or how the light shines off of the rocks and all this other stuff. Look, honestly, I
Right.
don't care how the light shines off the rocks. If it looks like it's shining off the rocks, in my mind, it's perfect. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, no, I really feel like now it just depends. It really depends on the game and the art style.
Hmm.
If I'm playing if I'm playing like Call of Duty, yeah, I want that thing to look real, right? You know what I'm saying? But if I'm playing like a zombie game or something like that, I want it to look real to a certain degree. But I know zombies ain't real, so how real can we really get with it? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know what I mean? Like, so it really, it's more of question, as a gamer, question what is real,
Hmm.
in your mind. What are we considering real in your mind to make a graphic be good to you? You know what I'm saying? Appealing to you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just the main thing when it comes down to us gamers opposed to a casual player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brand Smith said art style and aesthetics and Japanese aesthetics of Japanese are more impressive to me than making pores or individual strands of hair in Western. I'll get to that in a second. Um, the weird thing is people seem to want visual realism, but they don't think about physical realism. Like they want characters to look real, but not feel real or logical. Yeah, like they want the physics to be absolutely bonkers. Why can't they jump this high? Because you wanted it real.
Want
Um,
to be real? Yeah,
I also feel like
Jump
back then,
right back.
alongside graphical upgrades, we also got new gaming mechanics and such. We don't have that anymore. That's true too.
Yeah.
Um, Astral Chain is a really good looking game, and it isn't a realistic game. Same with Renatus or Luigi's Mansion 3 or Dragon Quest 11. So I'll tackle this in pieces, and then you guys can jump in as well. But as far as graphics go, um, when we're talking about the now, I think you said it, Vito. There's like multiple things that you kind of gotta consider. Is like when we got here. Well, let me move all the way back to the. Let me start at the beginning. Let us start at the beginning. Um, it was a different time for us back then, like growing up. Like Cisco said, is that like we had like the 2D, you know what I'm saying? We went from Mario being 8-bit to being 16, 32-bit, 32-bit with the Super Nintendo. And like those two pieces, that was like a jump. Like Mario then got crispy. You can see his nose, he's got eyes now. Like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He got a whole cape that he can reel. You know what I'm saying? And Luigi or Yoshi sticking out tongues. We got practically 3D with Star Fox, and like that was wild. Like that was a crazy time. But the moment that we moved into like a 3D space, like that changed like the whole game. Like I think literally moving into the 3D space is what really started the conversation of like graphics. Like it's crazy that we can do this stuff now with what we have. That first time you played Shadows of the Empire and you were, going around the ATATs, with the snow speeder, like that was mind blowing. You know what I'm saying? Had an open world with Link and Mario Kart was 3D now. It wasn't none of that like weird drifting thing where it pushes you over to the side and like you ain't drifting right. Like now it's real. 1080 snowboarding all the way to wave race. like these things, like we were getting realistic graphics. And so even moving into uh on the PlayStation side, like Final Fantasy, like they were showing the what do they call those? The CGI, no, not CG, it wasn't CGI back then. Cinematic trailers. Um and like watching those scenes from, from your Final Fantasy to, Resident Evil, and like watching those scenes and being like, yo, if video games ever look like this, it's going to be crazy. Like, and I feel like we did that every generation, but the growth was so subtle that you never looked back and was like, man, we've made it. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been so forward, like, oh, they're getting there. Remember how we saw Final Fantasy 7 and them cinematic trailers, and we on the like PlayStation 3 now, and we like they're really getting close. But like if you go back, you like trash. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been there a long time ago. Thank you, Andre. The FMVs. Thank you. So like thinking about that and moving forward, we have always been into, like Vito said, like the graphics. Like, ooh, I can't wait till the graphics look better. Ooh, I can't wait till the graphics look better. But like Brand Smith said, like we've always had a mechanic to go along with that, right? So, like with the N64, like not only did we get the graphical piece, but we got the rumble pack with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we got an aspect of like, okay, controllers rumbling now. Now I'm getting feedback from the stuff that I'm doing. The game and we got more buttons on top of that. So like now we can do multiple things with it. The GameCube and PlayStation brought in, well, for the GameCube it was the C stick, but we also got at that time we got analog triggers. So like, oh, now how hard I push on certain things, like I can control how fast something goes, or like how strong I want to hit to be, or something like that. And then we got wireless controllers, and that was like, whoa, that was crazy. But even like the PlayStation 3, Wii era, we got better graphics, but then we got motion controls. So it was like, okay, now we're doing more interacting and stuff like that with the stuff that we're getting. But like Vito said, I think you're right. 2010-ish era, where we jumped from the PS3 to the PlayStation 4, movement and stuff like that was like a little more natural for characters. It wasn't like you were standing. This is like the best example. Like, when your character is like standing forward and you be like, oh man, I want to go back this way, and they just like immediately turn backwards and we run a little, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like they turn around, they just go backwards. Like, we don't, like, that's when that stuff started to like really stop, so like now when you're looking at games these days, like all the stuff that like Cisco said, like all of those pieces of like how the environment looks and all that other stuff, like that's fine. Like the pores and stuff like that, it doesn't really add to a game unless that game is something like an interactive game,
Right. Like Detroit.
Detroit, 1886. Like something that you're actually spending more time watching than you are actually playing the game. Because when you start to get the moving around, like, is that really kind of taken away from the resources that, you could be using other places as far as like performance or something like that?
Let's face it. Real talk. 2K, they players don't look nothing like the cinematics or even what they be showing, like, you know what I'm saying, in those trailers, like, oh, gameplay, they have Steph Curry coming out, doing it, Steph coming down or whatever like that. As soon as you play it, it looks like last year. This year, that year. Like,
yeah, they don't ever look any better. What it Andre said. Shareholders have made it so that the game companies are too scared to really try anything new or different. Everyone is out for a quick buck.
Yeah.
Facts. Oh, what up, Retro? He said graphics have never been important, but big companies should do what they can. I do feel companies like Game Freak should not be releasing visual vomit like the Pikachu with the billions. First person shooters where the characters went from sprite to actually 3D. Yeah, yeah, facts.
Yeah, as a huge Pokemon, I would say Pokemon is like my favorite thing in the entire world, and I agree. Yeah. What happened with Scarlet and Violet? I'm like so embarrassed. Like first cutscene they show, I'm like, what are you guys doing here? And like, look at this vast world, and I'm like, I thought something wrong. I thought something happened to my Switch. I thought, and then my friend's like, dude, he's like in his cutscene, the T posing, and I'm like, Game Freak, what are you
Wait
doing?
a minute.
What are you doing here, bro?
Something happened to my.
What happened to my Switch? I thought it wasn't rendering. I'm like,
Hey, you know what's funny? I thought the same exact thing, and but that like Sansa would tell you, that's like what my second actual like series of Pokemon game or whatever. So at first I was like, hey, something wrong with my Switch? I got too much stuff. So I started taking stuff like games that I had downloaded. I was like, take them off. Like, oh, it must be like a like
It's
a
using
space
up too
issue.
much space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it must be a space issue or something. Let me go ahead and take this off. I took it off. Still the same stuff. I was like, maybe it's the fact that, I got the internet going right now. Let me turn that off real quick.
Yeah, same. I was offended by that game. I was like, you guys can't do this to me. Like, there's so many aspects of that game where I'm like, that's a good example of like, what did you do? Like, these are bad graphics, even though they look technically better than the Game Boy way back in the day. Like, that was just bad. And I would say those are bad graphics because they don't run well. They spaz out. That's why. Because Sword and Shield, people argue they had bad graphics, but I think the graphics were great. They ran smooth. I had no glitches. The trees look weird, but that's about it.
It's really weird because I don't. They're kind of, I don't know, man. Because I thought that Arceus was great looking. Like so like
that was crazy.
How did you go from that to that? Like what?
And that's the thing that's why I bought Violet. I'm like, yo, if it was anything like Arceus, I'm like, oh snap, it's about to be crazy. Let me go ahead and get this. Like, let me get this. This will be my first joint. As soon as I was like, well, all right. First, I was like, okay, we starting off a little, okay, maybe it'll smooth out.
Nah, especially not.
Start going to different regions. I went to like, I want to say it was that ice region.
Yeah, the mountains. Yeah,
the mountains or whatever.
Stuff
start looking more like. I'm like, no, is this a no?
No.
I was like, let me run back, come back up, and maybe everything will pan out. No.
I wonder if they I'm sure they got damaged. The hard part too was they said we're gonna fix this and they never did. No. So they did one update and I don't know what they did with it. I think it loaded boxes faster while you're looking through them. That's
it was
It
was a quick update. I think a lot of that resource will now go into what is it? The next
new one coming out?
Yeah.
Ain't that like a Legends game though too?
2025. Yeah. So I think they're listening about that they need to take it slow. I think they shot themselves in the foot. They released in the span of a year, they released what? Like three different Pokemon. They released the PDSP, Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet within a year's span. So it was like, what are you guys doing? You release if you count the two different versions, that's like 5 games they released in a year span. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
They wanted that money, but
it's not like they have a huge turnover either.
No.
Or I'm sorry, not turnover. It's not like they have a huge company of developers to be able to have multiple teams. Okay, team A, you can work on that. Team B, you can work on that. Team C, and I think even Monolith at some point had to come in and like like one of those. So, which I can only imagine what it looked like if it had Monolith not came in and probably did a little something.
Monolith is on steroids. I don't know what's up
Yeah,
with that company.
Vito Monolith is the one who makes Xenoblade Chronicles games, but
Mhm.
for whatever reason, they dabble in everybody's stuff. So they help the Zelda team make Breath of the Wild, and obviously Tears of the Kingdom. So I mean, they're good at making open world games, but I feel like probably the Pokemon company called them a little late. Like it's the 11th hour. Please hurry up. We need y'all now. Yeah.
Bro, like, what you want me to do?
Yeah,
Right.
game's due in a month, huh?
Fix it and fix it now. How many people can we borrow? I think we may have 100. We need 100. Yep, bring them. Okay. Yeah, I think Pokemon is DNA. I think it just having that much more time. Because the last thing they worked on was the DLC for
Scarlet Violet, yeah.
Yeah. So they should have plenty of time to really work on that, depending on when it comes out. Let me see. Y'all are going at it. That's what's up. Arceus Legends had such a nice art style and great Pokemon model. Yeah, because the Legends, like that one at least, like had that painted look. I thought that painted look was dope. Like the brush,
The brush, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was so pretty. Which kind of leads me into my next point, but let me read this. Mario Party should not be looking that much better than Pokemon. Nintendo always goes all out, which is why it's crazy Pokemon keeps getting away with the NC4. Because I think it's also too that Nintendo doesn't necessarily fully own Pokemon, even though they could somewhat hold them accountable. It's like, who else are you going to send on that team because they've been doing it since the beginning of time? Like, who do you call? They're the ones who created the game, so like yeah, we came up with 500 new Pokemon. Can y'all do that? No? Okay, then shut up then. Like, dang, okay. But that kind of leads me to my next point though, is art style, because one thing that I have been noticing, especially as of lately, not everybody is going for the realism art style anymore. Like, and if it is, it's like pseudo realism. Like it's like realism, but like kind of cel shaded, or it's like realism mixed with, paintbrush, or like we got that what is it? Midnight, whatever the Xbox One is that does like the stop motion thing. Like, like companies are now trying to do different things with different art styles. And one thing that I've really given Nintendo credit for is that their games end up being timeless because of that. You know what I mean? Like Wind Waker, all it needed was like an HD paint, and it was like brand new. Like they didn't have to change the art style. Like it has that longevity. I think Breath of the Wild can easily do that. Tears of the Kingdom, whenever it starts to finally look a little fuzzy, they just add a little paint or like a up-res of graphics, and then like it's like, whoa, I don't remember it looking like this. But so I think the problem too is that realism gets dated faster, especially not so much because realism is dated, but like because the technology that you made it on for that becomes dated, right? So perfect example, like Perfect Dark. Well, Perfect Dark too, but Eternal Darkness, more realistic game. But you go back and look at that game, it was like y'all blocky, y'all super blocky, even on the N64. Any game from 360 era, Fight Night games, those look dated. Skate looks super dated.
That's what's crazy. I was about to boot that up today on Game Pass. I looked at it. I was like, I don't think I want it because I was looking at the little screenshots and I was like, no, it's gonna look way 10 times.
Mhm.
No, I don't.
Mhm.
But back then it was like,
Yeah, they look crazy.
yeah.
You remember like the Tony, even before Escape, but like the Tony Hawk
Tony
games,
Hawk joints, yeah.
they was looking marvelous. Like every time a new Tony Hawk game, like man, what do they keep doing to make these games look graphically sound? You go back and look at any of those, you like,
I'm telling
mm.
you. Like even GoldenEye, bro. We talked about GoldenEye on here
GoldenEye.
before.
Yeah.
Like back then we were like, yo, yo, it looks so real. That's because they took a picture of somebody and plastered it on this 3D box.
Well, my man's with the face.
Yeah, I think that point, the point does stand, because then you look at some of these more like cartoony games, right? Like I'm thinking of, when we're talking about all this, I'm thinking about Mario Kart 8 and how that's
Mhm.
been, man, how long has that game?
Yeah, like
That's been the Mario Kart for has it been over a decade now? Because that was
yeah,
It's
Wii
been 10
U,
years.
and
yeah.
then it's still the Mario Kart. And I play Mario Kart. I'm like, this still looks amazing to
It
me.
still
Like the
holds.
graphics still look great. It still holds up, and it's been all this time. And that's the power of having more of a cartoon art direction. As like you said, like, they don't date as fast.
Mhm.
Or you can give it that fresh coat of paint, which would be like Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Was that even a remaster, or was that a remake? Because there's no way. Like, the way
Right.
it looked on the Wii versus on the Switch, it's totally different.
And they did it twice already because it was on the Wii. Then they did it on the 3DS for the new 3DS, and then they did it again for the Switch. So I was like, oh, okay, y'all just like George Lucas trilogy edition these Xenoblade games now, huh? Like I just had them just a little bit every single time, huh? Just a little more. Yeah, it's wild. Like it's funny because even if you think back on some of the games that weren't like necessarily you would call them like realistic, but like your Crash Bandicoot games, like even on the PS1 or like Spyro or something like that, those games still hold up even today. All they have to do is just up-res it, tighten the pixels and stuff like that, and it's like boom, like most people, if they didn't know about Spyro back in the day, they'd be like, dang, this must be a new game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Kingdom Hearts too, I think.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. Yeah. It's wild that you can anything that's like has like the pseudo cartoonish look to it, if it's not like fully in the realism spectrum, like it holds up to the test of time just by adding some pretty coat of paint over it. And I think the realization to that, like while there are still a bunch of games, like Final Fantasy 16 that still kind of take that approach, which I don't think Final Fantasy will probably ever move away from the whole realism, because I feel like that was like part of them. You know what I
Their
mean?
brand almost, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think that the realism will stay around, but it'll only stay around because it shows what can be done in that spectrum. Because while I guess the only downside, technically speaking, to like a cartoon game or a game that doesn't use realism for the art style is that it's hard to push that genre forward. You know what I mean? Like, would you rather see uh, a character's pores in a more realistic setting, or would you rather see a character's pores in a cartoony setting? In a cartoony setting, it would just look weird, like that. Like, oh, what are y'all doing there? Why you got holes on your face? Like,
Yeah. You got discs, or what's going on?
so I guess there is opportunity for realistic graphics, and I'll even say I keep forgetting the name of the game. I don't even know if it's like a full game yet, But there's is it like something cam? I want to say, but it's like almost like the Call of Duty first person shooter. Um, Kill cam. Is that what I'm thinking of? Um, what is the name of that game? Body cam. Body cam. That's what it is. Um, and I've never actually like I've never played the game, but I've like watched plenty of like gameplay of it, and I'm like, okay, like certain parts of this game look real. Like certain parts of this game look just a little bit too real. I'm trying to find
Oh yes, I remember this.
yeah, and I think I want to say that like it had gotten shown off like a while ago, and like when I first saw it, I was like, nah, there's no way, this isn't real. Like this is real. This ain't like fake footage of a video game. Like somebody added this stuff. Let me see. Here we go. Boom, and that. Boom. So like certain aspects, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, wait a minute. That looks a little too clean.
That looks like how my octave look for real. And my octave look just like that.
Like you can see like certain parts on the bottom and stuff where you're like, okay, like you can tell it's a video game, but like the bed back there in the corner, it's just like I think there was another scene in here too. Like
Like even the fact that the the kickback looks so real too.
right. Like yeah, like walking in there, I was like, oh wait a minute.
Well, look at that. There we go. We got some sun in there.
Yeah, like outside.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, dang, okay. And all from like just that perspective really kind of like changes everything. So
man, that is
like
real. That ain't fake. Okay, no, now it's not. Now it's not. Now it is. Hold on, wait. Okay, the blood look fake.
yeah, but just the way they scope in and be running around, you like, wait a minute.
Okay, with the gun that he has now, yeah, now it looks fake. But the first joint, like when he had it and he was shooting off, no, that definitely looked real.
It makes you think like how far do we want to take the graphics? Because okay, let's say we start playing video games with the graphics that are like super realistic like that you're playing real life. How much more realistic is it gonna get than real life? So at one point, are we gonna like stop with that?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the question.
Exactly.
That's the question, isn't it? Because like
I think what they're trying to do is too, like they want us to get to the point where it's like super real life, right? To the point where it kind of looks like something like that, but then start adding in like powers, like for us to have powers, like just to imagine us to have like powers in real life, like how would that really be like? So like prime example, like I said, like VR. Say that was like a VR game, right? If we had that, and then you started like putting in powers into the situation, I think that's what people are looking for. Like basically, like I want to be Superman. How would this look like in real life? You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
No, yeah.
So I think people want to go that far to the point where it looks so real. Now let's start adding the powers in. But it's like, how real can you get? Because that definitely that convinced me. That looked like my octave on my joint. So I was like, is that real? Like, no, that has to be real. Then when dude started shooting at the dude as he ran past, I was like, no, that's real. The kickback is too real. Like, no.
Yeah.
I can see that like maybe like what it is exact. I think I think the end point of when we'll finally be, or the graphic craze, let's put it like, we'll be satisfied once we get that like Ready Player One experience. When it's so real, you got the VR headset, you got the little whatever that treadmill thing they're on.
Yeah, the endless treadmill. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's when we'll finally be satisfied. Or maybe we won't be satisfied with graphics until we're able just to plug ourselves into it. Like that's probably it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. Because that's
I ain't sticking nothing in my head.
Yeah.
VR headsets, as far as I go, but even with VR, I'm not a big fan. I don't know if it's just because we're not there yet, or if I just don't like the way it feels. I also get motion sickness really bad, so I get it so easily. So I think a VR headset would be wasted on me. 10 minutes, I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna throw up. Like I can't. But no, VR is really cool. I've definitely had some experiences trying out some of the VR headsets. I don't know which brand specifically. I think I did a Sony one, but I remember it feeling so real. But we're just not there yet, like to really feel it. I don't know. It's hard because I like everything when it comes to video games. I'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima with its graphics looking really good, and then I'll play a puzzle game, like a literal drag the puzzle piece in place.
Yeah.
What was Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Yeah, we'll play that and enjoy it just as much. I'll play everything. So it's hard for me to, I think in some games also, I think it depends on the game as well, where graphics matter most. I think graphics really, so I'm a big Pikmin fan, and I think graphics really help that game. Like I think the better the graphics, the more realistic the plants look and stuff. Really help that immersion with Pikmin.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you got like Metroid Dread versus Metroid Prime. I think Metroid Prime really works with like realistic graphics, but then Metroid 2D, like the 2D Metroid games, look better in more of a
cartoon.
Yeah, cartoonish art direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with Mario. We don't want realistic. I don't know if you guys ever seen that video. You ever seen that video with Mario running with a deer, like Unreal Engine? And
it's dumb.
This thing it doesn't fit.
It like we went far enough when we got New Donk City. That's the closest.
That's as far as we're gonna get. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all we need. We don't need nothing more than that. Mario movie is fine. Nothing more than that. Like that's.
Remember the first Sonic? Well, you remember how Sonic first looked like when they was making a movie? And it came out like perfect teeth.
Sonic. But yeah, definitely some games I would say graphics really boosted, like we just mentioned Metroid Prime or Pikmin, but then like to get it a step further, Last of Us I think is a game that really flexes its both. We were talking about what the realism and the physics, but also like the game physics, but also in the graphics. I think Last of Us plays really well in that. But I think the problem is a lot of game companies want to do these like crazy graphics without it really being important to the project they're doing. Because Last of Us with the most realistic graphics makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you try doing that for some other games, maybe not as much.
No, not so much. Yeah. Which I think was kind of cool with Ghost of Tsushima, because as grounded as most parts of that game was, then you had like the samurai stuff, you know what I'm saying? Slashing 8 people, within a span of 1 second, you know what I'm saying? Just shoot. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm down for that. Like, but that works. But it's like within the physical range of what you would imagine like a legendary samurai would be like anyway. It's not like he was just out like, pulling a Neo and just flying out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I will find you.
And then and then we can bring in Death Stranding into the mix, where those physics, man, it's really just like a walking simulator. Is that what he talked? What was it? I forgot what Kojima what he
originally called it.
Yeah, he said it was something. It was something simulator or something.
Yeah.
Forgot what he labeled it, but
delivery simulator,
something like that. And I'm in that game, your punches are slow, you can't jump, you're like really slow, and fall, you bust your stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't enjoy those mechanics very much. Like I really wanted like you know what? Actually, another good example, Doom. When I played Doom Eternal, I
Yeah,
liked that it still was a video game. That you get
yeah,
collect power ups, and it was still silly. But then at the same time, you're ripping demons' faces in
right,
half
ripping
and stuff.
through people.
Yeah, and the graphics were fairly good in that one too. But
Yeah,
it was still in a way cartoony because it fit. Our direction just is really important. So yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I think how you attack our direction is really kind of the basis of what kind of game you're, because like Borderlands is kind of the same way, like it's all cell shaded and it's like way out there, but like it fits how weird and wild that game can get, so which is
So what do
weird
you
to me.
think, real quick? What do you think about like a Starfield graphics? Like how are you grading that? Like does that look like it could be a realistic situation, or is that a
I
little
think
too
they could
far
turn
fetched?
Starfield easily into a TV show. Like that is already
Yeah.
set up to be, could be a pretty decent TV show. Kind of like how they did Fallout. I wouldn't expect them to do Skyrim like that, just because that's, I don't know. Skyrim has, I don't know, but Starfield though, like graphically, I think it's fine. Even if they wanted to add, I think parts of me wish they could have added that like little like kind of the 80s filter, like almost like the TV, like the old school, you know what I'm talking about? Like the old
Yeah, because
school.
like the game is actually filtered like that. Like it's filtered to
Yeah.
like the 70s or 60s type of feel and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of had that
So yeah,
filter, that fuzz
yeah, that was
over it
dope.
like that.
Yeah,
Because it feels like that, even though it's like way in the future.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, but I think graphically, I think that game is fine. Um
Like 70s. I think that's 70s. Cause
yeah,
like the black dude, for some reason, I want him to say jive turkey, and I know that was like 70s type
yeah,
feel.
every time
Yeah.
with
So
his deep voice.
yeah.
Drive turkey. Uh Oh, I was going to show this to you, Cisco. I don't know if you had seen this, because you said Ready Player One, and I was like, oh, all right, this is here. Uh,
Oh, I didn't see this in particular, but I saw something. Like I know they're definitely trying to work on the technology.
yeah, it's
And it's
what.
interesting too because I remember when Ready Player One first came out, people started asking, "Can we have something like that?" And I remember seeing videos where they were like, "Oh, that's not in our time. Like, we don't have technology even close to that. That will be far, far in the future." And then it was only a few years later, and we started getting like, started
Yep.
working on it, and we started
Yep.
getting things closer to this. Yeah, look at that. That's looking pretty good.
Yeah. So it looks like they're already starting to move towards that. I think that's interesting. I've never seen one of these, so I don't know if you have to wear like certain kind of shoes with it or.
Maybe that would make sense. It's interesting because this, looking at this, especially looking at the gameplay, this is just when we're talking about going from the Super Nintendo to the N64 and getting the Rumble Pack, and then we definitely did not get that many big changes going from PS4 to PS5 and Wii
Right.
U to a Switch. We got the Rumble, the
Yep.
HD Rumble, which I
HD.
don't get much out of that. Besides 1-2 switch.
I think it was a missed technology, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then we have the haptic feedback on the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 controller, which personally I don't like. I had to take it off my controller because it was annoying me because it would like, I feel like my controller would jam because I would be shooting guns and then I'm like, dude. I think I was playing Helldivers and my gun would just jam. I'm like, I need to take this off. Like, I could barely shoot sometimes. That would annoy me. So I don't know. Those two aren't too great. But looking at this, you can see how it's almost like that Super Nintendo, the 64 era. It's like we're kind of
Yeah.
almost we're like on a different realm, but then
Yeah.
starting over. Because now the graphics are not as great. But then is this the new Rumble Pack? New switch
Right.
from 2D to 3D type of thing. Now we're going to what would this be, 40? Like, it's
Yeah.
like we're going into like a new era of gaming, and now we're at the beginning, now having to work our way up.
Yeah.
So is VR really like the new step where we're gonna really work? Because I feel like looking at the PS5, we peaked. I feel like we can't get better graphics than that. Everything just at that point is just no good. This is maybe where really high graphics could play a huge role and be appreciated more.
Yeah, because something that Jack said to me, and I was like, dang, you're right, and that's really unfortunate, is that like, even though all this looks great and it'd be amazing to like see this just kind of flourish and blossom continuously, the biggest problem is that the one thing that it requires, and this is probably another reason why the Switch actually did so well. This kind of stuff requires isolation from people, and people, we live in a fast time. Well, at least in the States, we live in a fast time where you just don't have time like that. Like, I can imagine strapping this on and throwing this on probably, you know, an extra 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, you know. You got to boot into the game, got to make sure you're all set, and then you start playing the game, and like, who knows how much time you have, versus like, you know, the Switch, where you can just sit down, play your game, or, you know, even the PS5 or Xbox One, you know, to a degree. But like a Switch, you can just take anywhere with you, and like, oh, you know, like, oh, what are you playing? Blah blah blah. Oh, that looks cool. Is it 2-player? Yeah. Click click. Here, take that. Like,
yeah, it was really easy. Yeah.
You know, so I think practicality and the lack of needing isolation in order to play the game is something that's really always going to stop VR from ever growing beyond the potential that it could. It really takes like it takes a player one movement. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be the equivalent of like what the Wii was when we first got that experience. Like, oh my gosh, like, grandma, like, come over here and check this out, you know? So like, but I think it can happen, but it just has to, it has to be like one of those overnight sensation type things. But they just have to get to that point. Cause yeah, I think you're right. I think that could be like the next big, like, you know, you want to be in this world. We've created this world for you. You can jump in this world, or, you know, jump in that world, or you can be Link. You're Link now. Actually Link. You know, jump from the skies and all that. So
I like you said, overnight sensation. As a culture, we're just weird. Like, it just, VR, I think right now is ahead of its time. Like, we're just not ready for it. But then like the Roomba is old technology now. Like, nobody wants a Roomba anymore. But I remember at the time, everyone was getting a Roomba for their household. Nobody was scared of robots taking over the world then.
Right.
You know, it's just randomly our culture, like our people just are ready for something. We're ready for some kind of trend. And so we're just waiting for VR to be, I don't know, does it got to become nanotechnology or something? We got to be like,
right.
Like, what makes it, what's going to make it like really stick where everybody wants to play VR?
Yeah.
That's where it's difficult. And yeah, right now the Switch is almost like, I know it's like, I don't know, the Switch is almost like not even new technology. It's like almost like we went back because we just made a 3DS that's more stronger. Like, pretty much like we just made a stronger Game Boy. We just made a stronger handheld, and that's what made it, you know.
Yeah,
I think most like Sony and Microsoft, what they thought was the future game is going to be this like tower that's going to be extremely powerful, and people are going to want to sit there and play these really powerful games full with the best graphics. No, a lot of people actually wanted to, you know, play Animal Crossing and you know, and have these detachable controllers on a little tablet. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. One argument I wanted to make at the very beginning when we were talking about just graphics, and I think another thing too is why graphics aren't as important is because I think graphics are actually only important to a loud minority. Because, for example, in the content creation uh, uh, side of things, I like Pikmin, like Metroid, Pokemon, whatever, right? And if I tried making very niche videos, it actually doesn't get that much traction. When you saw that on my channel, I was blowing up and I was doing like, getting the 100K views on videos. It's because my strategy for that was to dumb it down, make it something that anybody who doesn't even know what video games are can watch it and understand it. Make it very simple. So instead of being like, oh, what's this hidden detail in the Pikmin franchise? Instead, I started being like, what is Pikmin? These are all the kind of Pikmins, for beginners. And that picked up like crazy. And I think that translates even to our world now, where I think, grandma does not care about playing Call of Duty. She don't want to learn how to play Ghost of Tsushima. She still only knows tic-tac-toe, but you give her Mario Party and say all you gotta do is press the A button, she might get into it.
Right,
and
right.
I think of people like my mom or my dad, and they're not gonna give a shot to any PlayStation game or Microsoft game that has these high-end graphics and complicated controls. So they're just not gonna do it. But you give them WarioWare and say just press A, B, whatever, they're gonna get into it. They're gonna try. Yeah. My mom is not into video games, but she played the Wii because she liked the Wii bowling and everything, because it was something anybody could play. And for the Switch, she hasn't played any Switch games, but she did play Ring Fit Adventure because it's simple. You're just running, you're doing your movement, and again, something that anybody can play. It's not complicated. And I think that's something that let's say, I don't know how many video gamers there are. There's a lot. But I do think a game that sells really well would be like in the 10 millions. And 10 million is a lot of gamers, but there is billions of people in this world.
Right.
And you have the potential to have billions of people play video games, and you might have 10 million that play God of War, but then you might have 100 million that like Pac-Man. So it's like people like simplicity, I think. And that's where graphics complicate things, and I think that's where people if we really dumb it down to, are graphics really important or not? I don't think they're that important. I think simplicity is something that anybody can play. Arguably is like more important for a game to, like, I guess, be big or.
Facts. Because like, even I'll even say this. Trinell, I see your comment. I'm gonna bring it up in a second. I'll even say, like, when the Switch first came out, the one thing that got like everybody like that was even in my circle, and I don't really have too many like gamer friends, maybe like some relatives and stuff like that, but like I can count them all on one finger that all play games like that. So like the people who really were like interested in the system, I always showed them like 1-2 Switch, like, oh, like what, like, oh, I remember that Nintendo thing, like we played the Wii and stuff like that. Does it have bowling? Well, no, but like it's got these other games. And the one I would show them all the time is the box from 1-2 Switch. It's like that was the one and only time the HD technology was the like
only time. Yep.
Ahead of its time, like you could hear it would roll around in the controller, and like it would blow people's minds. It was magic. They're like, no, like there's got to be a ball in here. I'm like, no, it's just a rumble. Like it's just rumbling. It's HD rumble, and they're like shaking it, like, but I hear stuff in here, and they're like, that's all just a rumble. Like
the only time that I thought, wow, this is the future. Nope.
Yeah.
The only other time I felt HD rumble was Mario Odyssey, where you could like like vibrate in a direction to tell you where to go, but that's it. Like, what happened with that?
and and like they kind of did like a cool little thing with Mario Wonder, where like if you turn the volume all the way down on the TV and you run across the like little notes, like you can actually hear the notes with the rumble from.
I didn't know that.
From the controller. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a cool little feature, but again, like You never knew that, so because it was never broadcasted or said about or spoke on like that. So yeah, like the most basic of things is what gets the consumer like actually interested in those kind of things. So I think you're right. Like graphics is like the last thing on anybody's, any concern, even for people buying stuff for like their kids, right? So like Christmas comes around, like mom is around searching for games for PlayStation, like, oh, I think he likes a PlayStation, or I think he likes Nintendo, I think he likes Xbox, and she's going around, she's not like looking at Death Stranding like, this looks like a really good game. She sees all the graphics like, this looks a little complicated for like a 10-11 year old, maybe not this, oh, it's Batman Arkham Knight. This looks like it's kind of violent,
Yeah, too serious. It's mature.
yeah. So I think that comes in handy when you're talking about graphic art style too. Trinell said, considering the controller from all three consoles have 14 face buttons, I could see how it may be intimidating. Yeah, and that's facts. And some of these companies like Steam Deck and stuff like that, they got the buttons on the inside now, everything, and so it's like what do you do with those?
Well, this comment is definitely real for me because I'm a huge fan of Donkey Kong Country. I love Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3. But when you talk about what was it, the Donkey Kong Returns or Tropical Freeze, they added too much for me to really keep up with. There's a bunch of different controls now, and I actually don't like those games because of that. Like, I found it difficult. And I know some people might laugh, like, that's like a kid's game. I don't know. I found it super.
Oh, no way, man. That game is hard.
Yeah, that game is difficult, and I think the controls make it worse because there are so many now different controls. And I remember playing those things on the Game Boy, on the Super Nintendo. It was so simple. You could jump, you can run, and then they would have the special where you could like throw your buddy or something. And now it's like all these other different things. You got to shake. I remember the Wii, you got to shake it.
Oh yeah.
Punch the ground and shake it to roll. It was just too much for me.
They had the spin jump, the jump, spin and hover. Yeah.
And then I played Tropical Freeze on the Switch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much. There's too many controls. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's there's a lot of aspects to it, but I think overall, are graphics as important as they used to be? I don't think so. But performance is just as important as it's ever been. Because if a game runs like crap and it's very beautiful, it's it's not worth playing. Where the opposite is not the same. Like if a game looked like crap but it ran amazing, like people will still deal with it because it could be like a what do they used to call those, wireframe, like a wireframe shooting game, but it ran at like 120 frames or something like that. They'd be like, oh, I'm over online, what I'm saying? Oh, I'm all over this game, it's fast paced, like it just, performance I think is probably the most important.
Well, it's like I don't know if you know much about like the Smash community, but they prefer Melee because of how it runs.
Yeah.
Compared to like Smash Ultimate or the others.
Yeah.
It's like performance definitely plays a huge role, and people want that. And yeah, a bug can easily ruin a game. Like I would take a break off of Helldivers 2 no matter how addicted I was because there was a bug. And I was like, well, screw this. I don't want to play this.
Yeah. So yeah, so gameplay and story are also nice too, but not every game has a story. But like as long as the gameplay mechanic, whatever it is, whatever the gameplay mechanic is makes the game fun too. I think now we're just at a time where graphics just aren't as important anymore. Art style is always important. I will say that. So in the graphics realm, I think still the most important thing is an art style, because if the art style is not right or it doesn't sit well, that can make or ruin a game too. So, but all the graphics itself, how sharp it is, 4K and global luminescence and ambient occlusions and our ray tracing and like all that. Like that's not necessary these days. To make a great game. So, other than that, yeah, I think that's about it. We can cut a little short. But thank you guys so much for coming through and talking with us. Thank you to my moderators, Chanel, Brand Smith, Dark Void. Jay Biggs didn't come through. That's surprising. He must have been doing. No. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Yo, hey, shout out real quick. Can I get balloons? Can I get balloons from you guys? Shout outs to the man Jay Biggs. I'm so sorry. So if you're watching this, Jay, I am so sorry for not shouting this out first thing. But shout outs to Jay Biggs. It's his birthday today. So that is why he is not on the stream with us as the other moderator. He is celebrating his birthday with his wife, I believe. So happy birthday, Jay Biggs. Appreciate you. We appreciate all the moderation that you've done and being on the channel every single week. And that's the only reason why he's not here. So yeah, shout outs. Yes. Bring in the balloons. Shout outs to Jay Biggs. So thank you, Brand Smith, Dark Void, Trinell, RJ, thank you for coming through. Retro Squared, Andre, thank you guys. Night Wolf, I want to say was in here, but maybe he wasn't. Risky, as usual, and you were kind of silent today. I noticed, Risky, you were kind of silent today. What happened? Triple M, thank you for coming through. Yeah. Thank you. So before we get out of here, Cisco, would you like to throw anything out there?
I don't really have anything new. I think I said this last time. We launched our N10 movie. So if anybody's interested in the N10 movie, and the channel on YouTube is N10YTC, and you'll see right there N10 the movie. We did a little something, pretty fun. You get to know a little bit of the group, a couple jokes in there. But other than that, not really anything new at the moment.
Okay. As for me, I'm like sliding down, trying to get to N10 so I can put it into the. All right. Got it. And there we go. Okay. Thank you. So I can put it into my edits. And is that for edits? Okay. To N10. There we go. So as for us on the Sandstorm Show, you can check us out every. What are you talking about? Schedule in the future. 1 year in the future. Oh, you're being weird. I'll get to that in a second. You can catch us every Saturday at 9 o'clock. Usually. The only reason why we were late today is because I was with Juice and Mr. T up in Muskegon hanging out with them. So that's the only reason why we're late. Usually is every Saturday at 9 o'clock. Sunday is the Weighing It podcast, which starts at 7 o'clock. I don't know if I'll make it. I may be watching A Quiet Place at that time, but we'll see. Monday usually is the Juice is Loose podcast, the Joe podcast, but we will not have that because Robert from the Joe podcast is coming to Muskegon to go hang out with T and Juice. So, and I know that for a fact because he just came in tonight as I was leaving. So, yeah, make sure you catch them. As Trinell said, we are 15 away from 500 for the road to 500. Hey, road to 500. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And if they ain't got no friends, find some friends so they can tell some friends. That we are doing a 500 subscriber giveaway where we give away $50 to the person who wins. And it's going to go up all the way into $70, which would be 700 people. And then after that point, it'll still be $70 even when we get to 800 and 900 and 1,000 people. I may bump it up at 1,000, but we're just going to keep it at 70 for right now. But yeah, so if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button because that lets us know we're doing a great job. And I still hate Twitter because they took all our fans and subscribers
That's terrible.
just because they want premium, and I refuse. I will not bow down to that man. Other than that, thank you guys so much for coming through. We will see you guys later.
See ya. Peace.